What's up, everybody on YouTube? AJ Rez back here with another video, and today we'll be recapping Week 11 of the 2022 NFL season. What's up, guys? Y'all let me know in the comments down below how you are enjoying the series. It's crazy that we're already in Week 11 of 18. The season is going by so fast as usual, but a lot of entertaining things to talk about. Let's talk about the first game that happened last Thursday between the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. After the Packers won the previous week against the Dallas Cowboys in an upset win, they were looking to follow up that success winning another game against the Tennessee Titans, but that certainly did not happen. The Tennessee Titans went off, and in particular, Ryan Tannehill had a great game. Tannehill completed 22 of his 27 passing attempts to his receivers, passing for 333 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers had 227 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, and those 2 touchdowns were to rookie wide receiver Christian Watson, who arguably had a breakout game against the Dallas Cowboys the week before. That game really showed us 2 things. Really, the first thing, that the Packers are who they are, and they just aren't as good this year. I mean, they're just disappointing, losing Devontae Adams and just losing some defensive players in general, and just Aaron Rodgers getting another year older isn't helping them at all. And we also learned that the Tennessee Titans there, obviously in the mix for the AFC like they usually are over the years, but we'll see if Ryan Tannehill can play up to the better excellence of the team, and their defense is really good as well, so we'll see what happens and transpires. All right, guys, so we're definitely going to speed through a couple of games. There were some blowouts and some games that, had bigger scores, but really the game was blowout the whole time. But one game we have to talk about that was really hard to watch from an offensive standpoint, but good to watch from a defensive standpoint, was the game between the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. We have to talk about how Zach Wilson only completed 9 out of his 22 passing attempts to his receivers for 77 passing yards, and how also after the game, he said that he doesn't think that he let the defense down. Now, as a quarterback, as a football player, you know that obviously everything isn't just on one player, but as the quarterback and the leader, everyone looks to the quarterback, and this is his second season, so I guess we know he's young and stuff, but that's how to lose the locker room, really. Not taking responsibility, because, bro, you could have played way better. Your rookie wide receiver was a star, Garrett Wilson at Ohio State. He was very frustrated not getting the ball. I mean, it's crazy. And the Jets are having a great year after so many years of being just trash and mid. They're actually doing good. Like I said, their defense is really good. Have Sauce Gardner, who they drafted in the first round, arguably defensive rookie of the year. But, man, you definitely let the defense down, Zach Wilson. But that's just something The game was really, like I said, it was low scoring the whole time until Marcus Jones had that punt return, which I saw live. That was crazy. That really changed everything, and they won the game that way. The next game we can talk about is the Baltimore Ravens and the Carolina Panthers. Baltimore won this game 13-3, moving on to a 7-3 record. They only had, Lamar Jackson had a rushing touchdown. So I saw some things like people, for example, Stephen A. Smith being, concerned about the Ravens. I think they'll be okay. I mean, they play a tough brand of football. They're going to run the ball and things like that. I think they should have won against the Carolina Panthers by way more, considering that they're now a 3-8 team. They're not good at all. At this point, they'll probably just try to be competitive, but really just try to get the best pick possible for this next year's draft in 2023. But nah, man, I feel like the Ravens should have won by more, but I think you can still put them in the mix for one of the best teams in the AFC. The AFC is loaded. It's been loaded for the past couple of years, and it's really loaded now. So, hey, when the playoffs come, things are going to be great. The Los Angeles Rams lost to the New Orleans Saints 27-20, moving on to a 3-7 record, and now the New Orleans Saints have a 4-7 record. It's crazy, bro. The Rams literally won the Super Bowl last year. We were expecting high expectations, basically a similar team to last year. Of course, some differences, but mostly bringing back the same players. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. Right now, Cooper Kupp is obviously hurt with an ankle sprain, but actually, I think it's more severe than that. He had to have surgery. But anyways, man, it's just crazy how the downfall has been. I mean, they won the Super Bowls. That's the most important thing. But it's been tough watching them. The Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 37-30 in the matchup. They're now 6-4, being in the Super Bowl last year. Just talking about a Super Bowl team last year from the Rams. I mean, they haven't been the same team, but really no one expected, Cincinnati to make the Super Bowl last year. So really with them, they're just cooking with Crisco right now. I mean, they're just playing to their abilities and just trying to make the playoffs, because I think the Ravens are going to win that division. But I definitely feel like the Bengals, they'll still make the playoffs as a wild card. So we'll see what happens there. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not doing much right now. This is going to be the first losing season that Mike Tomlin has been underneath them. Since he's been a coach, my bad. But I mean, he's a great coach. He shouldn't be fired for this. I mean, really, you just have to be patient sometimes. I mean, sometimes in the NFL things move faster. You know, one year you could be trash, and the next year you could be Super Bowl contenders. So really, it just varies, and it's very fluid situations. The Detroit Lions were able to beat the then 7-2 Giants 31-18. Running back Jamal Williams of the Detroit Lions had 3 touchdowns, looking nice for them overall. Detroit obviously isn't a good team this year, and they're going to be fighting for one of the top picks, but they've been competitive. That's one thing for sure. Their head coach Dan Campbell, he has them playing for them like he's a player's coach to a T. So I really admire the Detroit Lions, their fight, their toughness, their grit, even though they're not that good as a team collectively. But hey, they continue to show what they can do, and they upset the New York Giants, who a lot of people already don't believe in anyways because, of their schedule. The Washington Commanders beat the Houston Texans 23-10. Not too much to talk about there, but one thing to talk about is that the Washington Commanders are now over 500. They're 6-5. So everyone in the NFC East right now is over 500. So the NFC East this year and the AFC East, both East divisions in both conferences in the AFC and the NFC, they have the best divisions. It's crazy to say that because the NFC East, a couple years ago was just so bad. The AFC East, when Tom Brady's with the Patriots, it was dominated by them. In the past few years, it's been dominated by the Buffalo Bills, but now the Dolphins are in the first seed right now for that division for the AFC East. So a lot of things to go on there. I mean, it would be crazy if both divisions, for each conference, they have all 4 teams make the playoffs. That would be insane. Not likely, but I mean, just to think about that, that's incredible. The Philadelphia Eagles were narrowly able to get a win against the Indianapolis Colts this past Sunday, winning 17-16 off of a 1-possession touchdown that Jalen Hurts scored. So that was impressive, of course. I mean, their past couple of weeks, they've been felt with adversity, losing to the Commanders in Week 10, and then obviously, almost wetting the bed against the Colts after, going 8-0. But now they're 9-1. I think the NFC is still, they're the NFC favorite, but not by just a huge margin, like everyone makes it seem. Like the Eagles are really good, but I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen in the playoffs. 2 of the most disappointing teams in the NFL actually played against each other this past Sunday, and they're in the same division. The Las Vegas Raiders beat the Denver Broncos 22-16, and they now have the same record of 3-7. So very poor, but someone had to win, and they went to overtime. I mean, in this game, the Raiders were really impressive. Derek Carr completed 23 out of his 37 passing attempts for 307 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Running back Josh Jacobs had 24 carries and 109 rushing yards, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. And then, superstar wide receiver Devontae Adams, who they acquired in the offseason from the Green Bay Packers, had 7 receptions for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns, being that dude. He's another guy that I have on fantasy, of course, essential for fantasy. But Devontae Adams, I mean, he's one of the greatest route runners in NFL history, just a nightmare for all defensive backs and corners in the league. So, hey, it's really unfortunate the Raiders have wet the bed like this, and same with the Broncos, how Russell Wilson has not been playing good at all. It's really looking like that he's been assistant quarterback, being in Seattle, but I digress on that. But, nah, I mean, these teams, they really should be better than what they are, man. But, hey, you have to go out on the field and play. It's not about putting teams together by paper. You have to actually execute the game plans and, build that chemistry. The next game we have to talk about is the Chicago Bears against the Atlanta Falcons. Not really 2 good teams. The Falcons, they are, they're mid. I mean, they're not even mid. Really, they're under 500. They're 5-6, so whatever there. But really, I'm here to talk about Justin Fields. Obviously, they have a 3-8 record right now. But, man, I'm telling you, he's going to end up being the best quarterback from the 2021 NFL draft class. And it's not even close. I mean, obviously, we know that Trevor Lawrence was drafted first. And I think a lot of people would still make that pick because just how he was in college was legendary. And I think that he's still going to be a really good quarterback. But Justin Fields is that guy. Great playmaker. In this game, he had 14 completions out of his 21 passing attempts, 153 passing yards and a touchdown. But also, he's been running the ball really well. All the quarterback runs and RPOs that he's had, I mean, they've been insane. He had, for rushing-wise, he had 85 rushing yards, averaging 4 yards per carry, almost 5, basically. And he had a rushing touchdown as well. So, hey, Justin Fields is that guy, I'm telling you, man. Hey, just Chicago has to get him right, man. Get a good, competent offensive line that can protect him. Just a good team around him overall. Hey, Chicago, they'll be lit. Let's speed through a couple more games, man. Like I said, I don't want this video to be too long, but the Buffalo Bills beat the Cleveland Browns 31-23. The Bills now have a 7-3 record after starting off so high. I mean, but they're still really good. Anyways, like I was saying earlier, the Dolphins lead their division, but in the AFC East. But to keep things going forward, Buffalo actually wasn't able to play this game at home. I mean, Josh Allen nearly had 200 passing yards and 1 touchdown, so not anything too crazy, just an overall well-built, balanced performance for the Buffalo Bills. And then talking about the Monday Night Football game, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Arizona Cardinals 38-10 in convincing fashion. The 49ers now have a 6-4 record. Obviously picking up Christian McCaffrey in the trade during the middle of the season, that really helped before the trade deadline, of course. But that's just being great with them. I mean, I think that the 49ers, they're one of the best teams in the NFC, regardless, even if they're only a couple games over 500. They prove that they really are good and can sustain success. Head coach Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaching gurus in the league, and we'll see what happens with them in the postseason. People like to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, but, he manages the game well. He plays solid. Sometimes he can mess up, but, he's made it to a Super Bowl with them. So it might not be purely because of him, but regardless, he hasn't done something not to, get to the Super Bowl. So, we'll see what happens with the 49ers. I really believe that they're going to be a solid team and could be dangerous in the playoffs. We have to talk about how the Dallas Cowboys absolutely demolished the Minnesota Vikings 40-3 in Minnesota. And now the Dallas Cowboys have a 7-3 record, and now the Vikings have an 8-2 record. It's crazy because the Vikings, they've only lost, now 2 games. Of course, first earlier in the year against the Eagles and now the Cowboys. But, just how many one-score possession games that they've won. In the week before, they played against the Bills, came out to that 4th and 18 play that Justin Jefferson had went up and got the ball. But it's crazy because in this game, they did nothing. I believe Justin Jefferson only had 3 receptions. So they weren't really able to get anything offensive-wise going. The huge problem with the Cowboys had been their defense of run, their run defense. But, their defense in total really made a message. Of course, their pass rush is elite. One of the best defenses in the league. And then Dak Prescott was able to play a better game this week. Last week, I know a lot of people were getting on him, and including myself as well, because, he's shown at times not to be play at the biggest moments. We have to see when the playoffs come as well, because that's the obviously biggest barometer. But he completed 22 out of his 25 passing attempts for 276 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. And also Tony Pollard, man. Tony Pollard, the Cowboys better extend him. Dude, he is really good, bro. 15 carries for 80 yards. And he didn't have any rushing touchdowns, but receiving touchdowns, he played great. He had 6 receptions for 109 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. Really good. Also, Zeke Elliott had 2 touchdowns as well. So, the Cowboys look very formidable. And, obviously, people like to talk about the black cap behind their franchise, but hey, you can't deny that they're one of the best teams in the NFL right now. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Los Angeles Chargers 30-27. The Chiefs now have an 8-2 record, and now the Chargers are at a 500 record of 5-5. But this quarterback matchup was elite. Arguably going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league going forward. And Justin Herbert, he's still young in his 3rd season, but him against Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be in the same division for years to come. So this is an in-division matchup in the AFC West. Really good to see Justin Herbert. He had 23. He completed 23 of his 30 passing attempts for 280 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And then also on the other end, Patrick Mahomes, being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time already, had completed 20 of his 34 passing attempts for 329 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And he also had a game-winning drive. Man, just seeing the Chiefs, a lot of people taking them for granted. And they get tired of them, like the Warriors in the NBA and things of that nature, or, just seeing greatness. Sometimes seeing greatness, you get tired of it. You want to see something else. But, and the same thing with, LeBron and players like that who have sustained success over a long period of time. It's only been a few years with the Chiefs, but people are just so fatigued, I think, of them just dominating. But you have to talk about how great they are. They lost Tyreek Hill, but they still haven't lost a step, Travis Kelce is playing some of his greatest football right now, being by far the greatest tight end in the league, and for sure a future first ballot Hall of Famer. So, hey, we have to give credit where credit is due with the Chiefs. In terms of the Chargers, they just have to, play better. I think that they'll make the wild card. They can be a team for the wild card. It just depends how other things go in different divisions. Like I said, the AFC East, they have all winning teams. So, hey, the AFC is loaded, man. So, if you want to get there, you can't be slumping. You have to be on top of your game, and the Chiefs are certainly that. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the season so far, some of your postseason predictions, who you think are going to win different awards in the NFL, and just how you think the season is going in general. So I appreciate y'all guys. Always make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SwaggyRuss, and also TikTok at SwaggyRuss02. Hey, we're going to continue to keep building and climbing on this channel, man. Hey, posting about sports, pop culture, lifestyle, and just all types of things, man. Just know that I can do anything. I appreciate y'all always. Hope y'all are being blessed, doing well. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Be blessed watching football. And yeah, y'all take it easy.